Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom. This is Tom Bruce's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2, where the reason I'm parodying the intro of Many a True Nerd is because we're going to do a Many a True Nerd style things that Tom got wrong. But before we get into that, let's start up our radio. Shuffled and playing. See if I need to adjust my own volume. We are good. So, let's get into it. As I was reviewing the footage from the previous episode, I noticed those tractors were in fact missing a texture. We don't have that problem this time. I do want to check the world map and see where we're going. So I don't know if that's something to do with the mod load order or what. Before I continue talking about that, let's do another thing we got wrong, which was on our previous journey we weren't on the lookout for sort of points of interest, which we should be, because we need to pick up some truck dealers. It looks like we're going to pass something here, so that might be a truck dealer. We don't need to worry about that too much. Scrolling along, there's nothing there. There's another one that we're going to... There's another two here after we've done the drop. Well, the question is, will we hit those? Because if not, then we should think about just going a little bit farther to say here. And that wants us to do a U-turn there. We'll see if we hit them, and if not, we'll do a loop back around and come back down the road. So that's going to be fine. Yeah, so that way we've got a good opportunity to pick up truck dealers, hopefully, and maybe some recruitment agencies as well, because we can't, I don't think, purchase a truck until we've found some truck dealers. Let's take to the road. We set off, there we go. Need to find the way out of here. I think it's going to be left here. We're driving out of what looks a bit like a farm, right? Yeah, it's some farmland of some description. We're taking plums. 272 miles. So, things that Tom got wrong.
Turn right.
The tractors, yes. The tractors were missing a texture. As I say, I don't know... Whoops, looking to turn the wrong way there. The tractors were missing a texture, and I'm not sure if that's something to do with my load order or if it's a genuine bug with either the game or the mods I'm using. I don't love this mirror position over here, but we'll live with that. Look at that, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Let's pay close attention to the road in case we are about to ram into the front of a police officer. That would not be good for us. So those tractors, I'm not sure if it was the load order issue or if... I haven't fixed it, is what I'm saying essentially. Because I'm not sure what the problem is. So if you do know, and you can give me some advice on that, you could drop a comment below. However, I'm not sure if it's just a bug that exists in some version of the game at the moment, or the mods I'm using, or if it's something to do with load order, because it could well be my load order is incorrect, and that needs some adjusting. But I do not know. I'm speeding and just passed a police officer, but they don't seem to mind terribly. The second thing I wanted to talk about, about what I got wrong was the ferry prices. When picking this job, I was talking about sticking, on the. Well, I was talking about choosing a job that didn't involve a ferry because I would have to pay for that ferry. Now that is true in general once you get your own truck, but when you're doing quick jobs like this, the ferry is actually covered by the employer. So I could have taken that longer job and gotten the larger pay, and I wouldn't have had to cover the ferry by myself at all.
Take the second exit.
Oh, okay, this is a roundabout. Yeah, we want to indicate because we're going around. Do not pull out on me. Do not pull out on me. Thank you.
Exit now.
Oh, okay. We got a little too close there. Still a little too close. Going slow up this hill. So yeah, the ferry would have been covered by the employer, and I could have taken that job and gotten a much higher pay. So that's something to consider for the future. And then the third thing that I got wrong was I really need to be on the lookout for those recruitment agencies and truck dealers, because without truck dealers I can't purchase a truck. But we want to earn a little bit more before we do anyway. I don't know how much our first truck is going to cost, but we'll take a look at that once we're done. I think a couple more jobs at least, maybe 2 or 3. That way we've got a bit in the bank and we can take a loan out to cover the rest. But we also want enough left over after taking the loan, so that if we take a job and say the loan repayments go out at noon every day, so if we take a job that takes us over noon, we're not going to go into our overdraft. I don't think it would be too much of a problem, but it's just something I want to be conscious of. I want to have enough in the bank that once we purchase our truck, and if we have to pay a loan installment, we're not going to be going into the red. Actually, lovely little town there. I don't love how close to this sort of industrial part it is. Where are we? Fort William. I think that said Fort William. Oh, in fact, it says on the sat-nav there, Fort William. Not familiar with Fort William. I am familiar with both Glasgow and Inverness, though, which are on that road sign back there. Ooh, no, actually, I'm not at all familiar with Glasgow. I've never been, but I have been to Inverness. Been to Inverness, and we went out onto the water, the bay in Inverness, and we were on a boat looking for dolphins. Apparently, you can see dolphins there. I don't think we did, though. It was a grey, miserable day. It was raining. We were wearing raincoats, and we were on this little boat looking out across the water. You know, it's meant to be a dolphin tour. You're meant to go out on this tour and see the dolphins. But we just didn't have that look. Oh no, we're going this way. In fact, we shouldn't indicate. We should indicate that we're
now.
exiting here, yeah. So I haven't actually visited much of Scotland in the real world. Only Inverness, and I've been to Edinburgh a few times. Edinburgh's a beautiful city. What I think is a little unusual about Edinburgh, though I think you can probably get this experience other places too, is every time you visit Edinburgh, it's an entirely different city. Like, you'll go the first time to Edinburgh and you'll go on some sort of school trip because you're visiting Edinburgh Castle, and it'll be all lovely and historical. And it's this amazing historical location. Then you'll go another time and you'll be visiting for, say, one of the festivals that Edinburgh has on practically year-round. It's got the Fringe Festival, which I went for one year, and suddenly it's this town that's full of performers and entertainment and tourists everywhere, and it's a completely different experience from when you visit it as a historical location with school or something like that. And then you'll go a third time, and it might be to a job interview. I don't think I've ever had a job interview in Edinburgh, but I've visited this sort of part of Edinburgh where all of a sudden you're in this very urbanized area, and it's like, this isn't the Edinburgh I remember. I visited Edinburgh all these times, and I still actually haven't seen the water there, because I know it's on the coast, so I know it has it's got like a beach or a port or something, and I haven't seen that part of Edinburgh. So when I next visit, maybe I'll have yet another completely different experience of the city. Just noticing we've got new mail. We got a notification about that, didn't we? But I'm going to leave it until the end of the journey before we check that.
Turn right.
It wants me to get ready to turn right, so we will prepare for that. See, there's the sound I was expecting to hear. You can sort of hear it as I put the brakes on. I think that's the automatic retarder. This is not a right turn, in fact. I didn't need to indicate here. The road markings tell me that was a this is the same road, essentially, that we had priority there and wouldn't have needed to indicate, I don't think. But the sat-nav didn't know that, and That is something I've noticed about the base game interacting with pro mods, is particularly the voice sat-nav. The voice sat-nav thinks, oh, this is a right turn, because it looks like a right turn on the actual map itself, doesn't it? Ignoring the road markings, it looks like a right turn. It has the same sort of problem with some of
Get
the
ready to turn right.
has the same sort of problem with some of the roundabouts added by pro mods. I came across a roundabout and it just said, go straight on. And I thought, okay, that's
Turn
weird.
right.
Again, yeah, look at these road markings. This is, in fact, we had priority, so probably no need to indicate. But yeah, I came across a roundabout, and typically it would say at the roundabout take the second exit in this case. But instead it just said turn left, and that got us onto the roundabout, and then go straight on, and that took us around and out of the roundabout, which is very strange. So I don't think the in-game sat-nav recognises pro mods as roundabouts. I could be wrong about that. Maybe this was just a special instance, but that was part of my testing. How far are we at? 163 miles. I don't know where we're coming across now, but we are going to hit some speed
Get
cameras. So
ready to turn left.
Inverness. No! I adjusted my speed and everything. I don't know how much we got hit by there.
Turn left.
Oh! Oh! I may as well keep going now. Hit twice here in Inverness. I don't know how accurate Inverness is. I assume it's going to be pretty accurate because it's added by pro mods, and
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
they'll have taken this all pretty seriously as they were adding it. But it's been a very long time since I've been
Exit now.
to Inverness. I've never been to Aberdeen, but I think I had relatives who lived there. Though oddly enough, there's a daft truck dealer, so
Keep
we have
left.
access to daft trucks now. As I was saying, I think I have relatives
At the roundabout.
who lived in Edinburgh, but
First exit.
oddly enough, not.
Exit now.
I'm going to take after you. Oddly enough, not on my father's side. The reason I say that's sort of odd is the Bruce name is a very, very popular surname in Aberdeen, I believe. Like, I think you can look at like a name density map and look at the density of the names in various parts of the world, and Bruce has an incredibly high density around Aberdeen. I think this looks very familiar, so I think this is probably the water that we went out on to look for dolphins and saw none. The bridge over the water looked a little, it sort of brought back some memories there, a little bit familiar, but it was a very, very long time ago. $147 miles to go. I think preferably I'm looking to find a Mercedes truck dealer, because in my main game I'm driving a Mercedes truck and I've gotten very familiar with it. So far we've only found the one DAF truck dealer. I know absolutely nothing about trucks, but I at least recognise the brand Mercedes. And Volvo. Actually, maybe we should go for a Volvo if we can. I do have the... there's a DLC specific to Volvo, a Volvo construction equipment DLC, that adds certain jobs for... although that might be overwritten by the mods I've got installed. You're indicating that way, so you're going to stay there for me, thank you very much.
Now.
Yeah, there's a Volvo construction equipment DLC, but I think those jobs only show up if you're driving a Volvo. You can only haul the Volvo construction equipment if you're using a Volvo truck, I believe. I'm not sure because I've never owned a Volvo truck in this game. We're good for fuel. We don't need to stop here. And I think that may be overwritten by the mods anyway, so that's a shame. We may not be able to see those jobs because one of the mods, I think it's the Pro Mods Trailer and Companies pack. I think that we used the replacement mod version of that replaces the base game's trailers and companies with Pro Mods is. So I think that sort of limits our access to the base game's jobs. That probably includes the Volvo DLC. I am thinking of playing the game in some other ways as well. Like this is the modded world map experience, right? I've got Pro Mods installed and Rust Map and Maghreb, and we need to go see Paris at some point because I've got the Paris rebuild mod installed as well. But I do still want to play with that economy overhaul mod at some point that I was mentioning in a previous episode, but I think I want to do that in the base game rather than modded, just because it doesn't it apparently doesn't scale well to the Pro Mods adjustments. And there's some other maps as well. I did in fact find out what the map module option in the setup screen for a new profile did. I know what that does now. It's in fact so it's completely separate from the base game, right? There's nothing in the base game for Euro Truck Simulator 2, which is why the option is grayed out when starting up. But if you install certain mods, then some of these have their own maps, like they have standalone maps. Someone's done a let's talk about scale, right? Because someone's done a one-to-one scale recreation of a part of France, and that's its own map. That's a completely independent map. It doesn't work with the base game map. It's a standalone. They've done France, and others have made entirely fictional maps that you can play in the game as well. So it may be worth checking out one of those at some point in time too. Like a one-to-one scale recreation might be fun to check out. The actual base scaling for Euro Truck Simulator 2 is, I think it's roughly 1 to 19. I mean, it's roughly 1 to 20. The scaling for American Truck Simulator is 1 to 20, but ETS2 is around 1 to 19, I think, on average. The scaling works a little differently on the roads than it does in cities. I think I saw someone say that the cities are roughly 1 to 3, although that's going to vary by city because they're not all recreated as faithfully as others. But SCS are reworking old parts of the game over time and adding new content, and generally the game over the past 10 years has just improved and improved. And the Pro Mods team also adds a bunch of reworkings as well. There's another mod I was looking at installing actually called, it's a bit like the Paris rebuild, but it's a Poland rebuild. Apparently it's really good, but it's not yet compatible with 1.44. It's still limited to 1.43, right? So I'm running version 1.44 of the game, and all of the mods I'm using are compatible with this version. They're built for this version and tested with this version, so I can't do the Poland rebuild yet, but we might. It is coming. It says coming soon on the website, so when that's available we might add that as well to our setup, because apparently it does amazing work. It does amazing work at improving on Poland, which apparently doesn't have a lot of love in the base game. 50 miles to go here. We want to hit up those 2 mystery icons when we get into our destination. I don't think we're going to see a Mercedes truck dealer out here or a Volvo one. Maybe we will. The game isn't always realistic with what it places in various locations. I've seen IKEAs where there are no IKEAs. IKEA typically not in the base game itself, but added by pro mods. And there's no reason to expect that the garages along the roads, the gas stations, are accurate to their, you know, real-world locations. Like, we've driven past an Esso, we've driven past British Petroleum gas station, and maybe those are where they are in the real world, but I think that's probably doubtful. Here we are, Wick. I say here we are, Wick. Oh, yes, okay, so we're driving past our drop-off point because we want to hit a man truck dealer. Okay, so I'm guessing this is going to be a recruitment agency rather than a truck dealer. A recruitment agency, okay. So that's not bad.
Turn left.
We added, oh, took that way too wide. We added a considerable amount onto this journey, 29 miles still to go. I don't want to stop and just do a U-turn here because it'll be very difficult on this road. I saw a sign back there pointing to John O'Groats. I think that would be good to do at some point, like a journey from in-game, from I mean, it wouldn't even be that long of a distance, but from John O'Groats to I don't think Land's End is possible. I don't think Land's End is in the game at the bottom of the UK. Oh, this is incredible. So this is... I'm going to stop here and take a look at our map. I'm going to do a turnaround, but... You know, I did have... What are you people doing? No idea. Having a chat. Look at that! So you're taking a photo. Where are we? Are we at, we're at the very northern tip of... Oh gosh, yeah we are. So here we are at the very northern tip. It would be good to start a journey here, and as I say, go down across the UK to Land's End, which is not accessible, but to Plymouth at least. That'd be kind of cool to do at some point. In the meantime, I don't know if where we've stopped is a decent place to get a photo, because there is something I wanted to do in this episode as well. Drivers with own equipment needed. We're looking for... Yeah, so that's just telling me I need to buy my own truck. Oh, look at that! New York, Edinburgh, pointed out on that sign, because we're at the northernmost point of mainland Scotland. Incredible. Or is it the northernmost point? It's certainly the northeasternmost point, isn't it? I wanted to find somewhere to get a photo, to get a screenshot, but I might... Well, I can't do that between episodes. I just need to find something for a thumbnail for these videos, right? The scenery around here is a bit flat and uninteresting for the picture. But I think back in Wick down here, the town didn't look too bad, so we'll try and get a picture as well for our thumbnail. Caught behind traffic again. I assume we've got plenty of time left on this job. We've only been out of our way the one time to get those two mystery icons.
Get ready to turn right.
The truck dealer and the recruitment agency. Come on. Oh well, I'm speeding anyway, so...
Turn right.
Driver job at net.
Get ready to turn right.
Well, that is the recruitment agency, isn't it? They've given it a wee name. And that's the truck dealer. It's a shame we had to drive so far out of the way just to pick up those two, but it was nice to visit the...
Right.
Oh, that's annoying. We can do that parking job, that's totally fine. Imagine getting a headlight offense this time. I have them turned on now, I think, but you can barely see. Hang on. Let me just use this camera instead. Yeah, I've turned them on, but it's not making a difference. That's annoying. Just need to do a little bit of a U-turn. This is, I think, identical to the first parking job we did. Practically. There's our trailer. Push that in. Start straightening it out. Should be good. Oh, that's looking excellent. There we go. Perfect. I've realised what I wanted to do was get a photo, wasn't it? But I haven't. It's not going to be great here, is it? No. We'll look for our look to get a screenshot another time, I guess. But we earned 5,540 from that job. I don't know how much we lost to fines. We got 3 of them in the end there, didn't we? 1 for speeding, 1 for headlight usage, and another for red light offence. That's annoying. But we did earn another level, so that's going to go into long distance as well. We'll apply that, check our email, where it says Special Transports. I have something special for you. Thanks to our connections, we're now able to get to the real challenge. Some special extra large and heavy cargoes need to be hauled by a true professional. So that's just Special Transport DLC. We'll take a look at the job market real quick to see what else we might do from here. We're in the very northernmost point of Scotland. We're in Wick, right? Yeah, we're in Wick. So there's one that takes us into Iceland. That one would take us to Norway. That one would take us to the Faroe Islands. But the pay isn't that great. Looking at those. We probably don't want price per distance at this point in the game. We probably want price. Oh yeah, but it's sinking off so quickly. So I think the best one available to us is this one that takes us into Iceland. Taking a reservoir tank, 11 tons, up to Akureyri? Akureyri. That probably is a pronunciation I'm getting utterly, dreadfully wrong. But that's going to be our job for the next time. And we'll get a screenshot then, because Iceland is beautiful. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra.